We're here at Mississinawa 1812, and I'm talking to Gary Zahradka, and he today is doing an oil painter's impression, and he's got some great stuff here. I thought I would ask him some questions so that you would get to know this idea and this person a little bit better. So, Gary, how long have you been doing this sort of thing?
Well, with the reenactment setup, probably about 5 years now only.
As a painter?
As a
Right.
painter, as reenacting what an artist and a painter of the time period would have to do to be an artist. Because there is no art store anywhere. That's a really modern concept, to go to the art store and buy all your paints. And before that, an artist needed a lot of science and technology to get the job done.
Tell me about the art-specific supplies. You have to make them up out of...
Well, first you need to make the tools, and then you can make the paint. So before we can even start painting, we need paint. And there's a couple of tools specifically used for making paint, and there's the plate, and this is the muller. Mm-hmm. And we start with a pigment, and a pigment means any color. And we come up with colors from either using earth or vegetable matter, insects, all sorts of things can come up with a pretty color. Then we mix it with a vehicle, and the vehicle can be water if we're making a watercolor. It can be egg and making a tempera, but we do oils. So to mix that, we use this, the muller. It goes around and around, and people don't know, this was called mulling, and if you mulled something over, it was really boring, and you went around and around in your head, so that's mulling. We put the madder on there, and this is pigment derived from the madder root, and we mix that with our vehicle, which is linseed oil, which comes from the flax plant. That goes on there, and we take our muller and it combines, and what we're doing is wrapping the oil around every bit of the color. So it's all those little bits of color are in suspension. It's beautiful, intense colors. And so there we have a bit of the bright red rose madder. And so we have to make that up each time, because this is already starting to polymerize right here.
Right.
And it's not going to last, so we needed the apprentices. That's why artists had the apprentice system a long time, because there was no way to save it. And we'd have the apprentices mixing it up for us every day before we would do our painting. I love finding out how things were put together. Right now I'm researching silver point, which is using actual silver to draw with, which is tons of them. I mean, that's what was used for a long time, but we forget.
So
and we
it
don't
turns
even
into
think
an oxidized black
exactly,
line?
on a specialized surface.
Right.
And so many drawings, we look at them, we think, well, it was drawn with pencil, or
Right.
it was drawn with ink. And actually, it's a much more scientific process. And it's the fact that the science gets left behind. Art was a science, and it was as highly respected as any field. And the amount of science was the same as a doctor. A doctor and artist, we called it the arts and sciences. They were linked together.
So whether it's the art specific and the composition of the picture and how you would draw a face, plus all the chemistry and the...
And we're dealing with all the scientists who are making up equipment, lenses and things to help us project images, to help us see how it looks better. We're all creative. We all have imagination and creativity. What we don't have are tools. Man has always had to make the tools, whether it was a stick, or then we put hairs on the stick, and it goes on and on from there. So to be an artist and be imaginative and see things, that doesn't matter unless you have a tool to do it with.